Welcome to Pages and Frames. This is Roadside Picnic by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. 13 years ago, an event known as The Visit occurred in 6 locations across the globe. These areas, now called the Zones, are littered with strange and deadly alien artifacts. They are sealed off from the world, guarded by the military, and studied by the International Institute of Extraterrestrial Cultures. But where there's mystery, there's money. A new and dangerous profession has emerged, the stalker. These are men who illegally sneak into the zone to retrieve alien tech for the black market. It's a life of extreme risk, where a single misstep can lead to a horrible end. Worse yet, prolonged exposure to the zone seems to cause genetic mutations. Our story follows one of the most legendary stalkers, a man named Redrick Schuhart, or Red for short. We first meet Red, 23 years old, working as a lab assistant at the Institute. He's paired with a brilliant but deeply depressed scientist named Kirill Panov. Kirill is obsessed with an artifact called an empty, 2 copper discs with absolutely nothing between them, yet held apart by an invisible, unbreakable force. Seeing his friend's sadness and in a moment of genuine compassion, Red decides to cheer him up. He reveals he knows the location of a full empty, the same artifact, but filled with a strange blue liquid. Kirill he instantly pumped up, and they plan an official expedition to the zone to retrieve it. Just before they leave, Red is called in by the head of security, Captain Herzog, who warns him that he's being watched for his stalking activities. Red tries to back out of the trip, but seeing Kirill's utter despair, he relents. The trip into the zone is tense. Red is in his element, guiding Kirill and another lab assistant named Tender through the alien landscape. He expertly navigates them around a bug trap, an invisible gravity anomaly that crushes anything that enters it. They reach their target, an abandoned garage. Inside, Red spots something dangerous, a silvery shimmering cobweb stretched near the canisters where the full empty rests. He warns Kirill to be careful, but the excited scientist isn't paying attention. As he turns to lift the artifact, Kirill backs right into the cobweb, which tears with a faint crackle. He doesn't even notice. They successfully retrieve the full empty and return to the Institute as heroes, collecting a big bonus. Red heads to his usual bar. While there, his friend Richard Noonan arrives with terrible news. Kirill Panov has died, a sudden heart attack in the showers. Red knows the truth. It was the cobweb. Overwhelmed with guilt and alcohol, Red loses it. He starts a big fight and, to top it off, throws a shrieker into the bar, an alien device that induces uncontrollable terror before escaping. As he stumbles home, he runs into his girlfriend, Guta. She gives him one more piece of life-altering news. She's pregnant. Back at Red's apartment, years have passed. Red is now 28, married to Guta, and has a daughter named Maria, whom they call Monkey. The zone has left its mark on her. She is covered in a fine golden fur and is slowly becoming less human. Redrick no longer works for the Institute. Driven by the insufficient pay and the immense financial pressure of caring for his daughter, he's a full-time stalker. One night, he's on a run with the infamous Vulture Burbridge, the last of the old-school stalkers. The job goes south. They're trapped by a patrol car at a cemetery, forced to hide among the graves while a living corpse is wandering aimlessly. Yes, a zombie. It turns out that all this leftover alien technology has some truly weird and disturbing effects on the people and the very laws of nature around the zones, and these reanimated corpses are one of the most unsettling. They are exactly what they sound like. People who have died, sometimes decades ago, returning from the grave. After they finally escape the patrol, Burbridge makes a fatal mistake and steps into a patch of hell slime, a viscous substance that dissolves organic matter. His legs begin to melt away beneath him. Red thinks about ditching Vulture, but he pulls out his secret weapon. He knows the location of the legendary Golden Sphere, a mythical artifact said to grant any wish. Red, his thoughts immediately going to his daughter's condition, decides to haul the dying man out. He gets Vulture to a shady doctor who cuts off his legs. But Red's luck has run out. When he goes to his buyer, Ernest, to sell the swag from the trip, he walks straight into an ambush set by Captain Quarterblad. Red makes a spectacular escape through a hidden trapdoor in the wine cellar, but he knows he can't stay on the run. To protect Guta and his daughter, he hides the most dangerous artifact, a porcelain container of hell slime, and calls the police to turn himself in. He's sentenced to several years in prison. Meanwhile, we get a look at the bigger picture through the eyes of Richard Noonan, who is not just an equipment supplier, but an undercover agent trying to stop the illegal flow of artifacts. His boss informs him that despite his best efforts, the black market is booming again. The new boss is none other than the now legless Vulture Burbridge. In a fascinating conversation with Nobel laureate Dr. Valentin Pillman, Noonan gets a glimpse into the chilling philosophical and statistical realities of the zone. When Noonan asks what the visit was all about, Dr. Pillman offers the roadside picnic theory. Imagine a car pulling off a country road for a picnic. The people have fun, eat, drink, and then pack up in the morning and leave. After they're gone, the forest animals, the ants, the birds, the bugs, crawl out from their hiding places and find the mess left behind. They see oil spills, old spark plugs, candy wrappers, bottles, and coins. The animals have no idea what these things are. That, Pillman suggests, is humanity. The visit was just a roadside picnic on some cosmic highway. The aliens stopped for a brief rest and left their garbage behind, possibly without even noticing the ants, us, scurrying around. All the amazing, world-changing, and deadly artifacts in the zone. They might just be cosmic trash. The horrors of the zone aren't just theoretical. Noonan sees them firsthand when he visits Guta while Red is in jail. He finds Red's father, reanimated, sitting silently in their living room, a mindless shell returned from the grave. And he sees the heartbreaking changes in Maria, Red's daughter, who's losing her ability to speak and seems to be regressing into something not quite human. Finally, we return to Red. He's 31, freshly released from prison, and finds his daughter is worse than ever. His daughter's condition is his sole motivation, and desperate for a cure, he decides to take Vulture up on his offer to guide him to the mythical Golden Sphere, an artifact rumored to grant a person's innermost wish. Vulture, crippled and desperate to get his legs back, explains the catch. The path to the sphere is guarded by an invisible, deadly trap he calls the Grinder. It can only be disarmed by a living sacrifice. He suggested Red take along one of his 20-something trainees. In a tragic twist, his son, Arthur, ambitious and wanting to help his father, goes to Redrick behind Vulture's back and begs to be taken along on the mission. Redrick, seeing his chance, agrees. Arthur believes he's going as an apprentice, but Redrick knows the truth. The boy is the key. The final journey is the most brutal of Redrick's life. They survive a patch of hellish oven where the very ground beneath their feet turns to hot ash, scorching their skin and forcing Red to physically tackle and pin down a panicking Arthur to keep him from running into an even deadlier trap. Then they wade through a valley filled with a reeking puke-green slime, all while fork lightning strikes down from a clear sky, forcing them to submerge themselves in the muck to avoid being electrocuted. They finally arrive at an old quarry and see it, the Golden Sphere. A dull copper-colored orb resting at the bottom. Arthur, oblivious to his fate, runs down the slope toward the sphere, yelling his pure-hearted wish into the air. Happiness, free, and let no one be forgotten. He runs straight into the meat grinder. An invisible force seizes him, twists him apart like laundry being wrung out, and then falls silent. The path is now open. Shaken and empty, Redrick walks down to the sphere. He tries to form a wish for his daughter, but his mind is a chaotic storm of anger, guilt, and a lifetime of pain. He thinks of all the people he's known, the betrayals, the greed. All he can see are smirking mugs and piles of dirty money. He realizes that he, an animal forged in the zone, doesn't know how to think of something truly good. They hadn't taught him the words. In this moment of total despair, he concludes that he cannot form a worthy wish of his own, but he also believes that deep down, he has never truly sold his soul, that it is still human. So he falls to his knees and screams the last, pure, selfless thing he has left. The last words of the boy he just sent to his death. Happiness, free, for everyone, and let no one be forgotten.